Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that just decapitated a monster and drank all of the juice out of its head. It's Norbert Morvan.
I gotta die in here with you and sober, Hoffmeyer?
Yeah, I wrote that. I love that line. Like,
you can't.
Normally I hate when single malt whiskey is wasted. You know me, Norbert. I hate it when whiskey is wasted. I still can't watch the movie Torque because there's a playground scene where they just waste 2 Budweisers, and I'm like, I don't understand you. But in this movie,
Absolutely,
to save the world, they waste a single malt scotch. And I get it. That makes sense. So you have Ghidorah robot mauling people, the world, and killing all the Titans.
Yeah. Like my man said in Inglourious Basterds, there's a special place in hell for people who waste good scotch.
And then that happened.
I
and
believe it.
Skyfall too, when they wasted the 50-year Macallan, my soul.
That's unacceptable.
My soul sucked into itself. Now, Norbert, spoilers here, but I'm watching this movie, and during the final fight, Godzilla is laying on the ground, beaten up, uses its atomic breath to shoot it at King Kong's axe, which absorbs the fire breath. When the axe becomes powered up, Kong uses it to rip apart a Mechagodzilla, which was built by Damien Bashir's company inside a gigantic mountain. But this Mechagodzilla is fueled by Ghidorah.
The Mechagodzilla is fueled by the power that comes from the Hollow Earth.
But then Ghidorah's in it because he kills Damien Bashir because they have the skull.
Yes. They used the corpse of Ghidorah from King of the Monsters, also known as Monster Zero. They used his corpse to create Mechagodzilla, which is actually quote-unquote canon, if you can call it that.
Wow.
Because the actual Godzilla series, which started in 1954, has been rebooted at least 3 times, the Japanese version.
Yeah. But the Toho and then the...
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the Japanese version of Godzilla, we have the Showa era from 54 to 75, the Heisei era from 84 to 95, the Millennium era from 99 to 04, and now we have the Legendary Pictures era. In these eras, there absolutely was a King Ghidorah. He was Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster. And he comes from
space.
The Lernaean Hydra. The inspiration was the Lernaean Hydra in the book of Greek mythology and Orochi from Japanese folklore. But absolutely, Ghidorah was a space monster. And so Ghidorah comes back in the day, wrecks the Earth. Godzilla comes to save him. And in Mechagodzilla 2, that's what they do, man. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. 1974 is the first movie. They don't make a sequel until 93, and then they reboot it in 2002. What you said is correct. That's right. They use the corpse of the old Ghidorah to make Mechagodzilla. They do this also in the original Japanese movies.
And they fuel it because Godzilla shot his atomic breath into the Earth's core. And then they brought the energy from the Earth's core, where there's a throne room with weapons used from Godzilla's ancestors' skull, like body parts. And then that is taken to fuel Mechagodzilla. But it's thwarted by a trio of people who took a subway from Pensacola, Florida to Hong Kong.
To Hong Kong. Yes, that's right. A subway that they only have access to.
This is the greatest thing. Like, you got to understand, Norbert. I watched this movie last year. I didn't go to the theaters. We watched it on HBO Max, but we went to my in-laws. They have a giant TV in the basement. Turn off all the lights, get into it. And all 4 of us down there just went, this is amazing. I mean, there's tunnels from Florida to Hong Kong. There's Hollow Earth. Godzilla laughs. There's owl chicken dinosaurs flying around. There's
creepy as hell.
There's the one of my favorite child actor performances ever. Like the kid in this movie
she's adorable.
Is just
and brilliant.
I mean, just so good. And
she's brilliant.
It's just a Kaylee Hoddle. She is just such a man. That kid's awesome. This is the coolest kid.
she's a brilliant actress. She's a brilliant actress. And I wrote that they made a really, really good decision to quote unquote make the good guy out of Kong. We're trained from the beginning of the movie with the classic Rock and Kong is lounging and then he stretches to the sun, and Kong's the guy who we're supposed to be rooting for this time. We want Kong to win, even though if we've been watching the Godzillas at least since 2014, you know that Godzilla's going to beat Seven Shades of hell out of him. You know it. Because it's literally the biggest Godzilla on film ever, the one from 2014. And you know that even though Skull Island, they purposely made it so that he was like a teenager in Kong Skull Island. And even then, you know, wait a minute, he's mad small. There's no way he's going to be able to fight Godzilla. So they're like, oh, he was a teenager then, but he's gotten bigger. He's still not going to be as big as Godzilla, dude.
No.
There's no way. Like, he can't win this fight. So you're rooting for the underdog the whole time.
And oh, sorry, go for it.
No.
It's beautiful, the underdog. And you know what's kind of crazy? During the commentary, Adam Wingard, who I never thought that the guy who directed You're Next and The Guest would be directing probably my favorite blockbuster of the 2020s. I mean, a very talented director, but watching You're Next and how insane it is, and then he goes over to this movie makes me so happy. But he did say that Adam Wingard said that he was a huge fan of gigantic action films growing up, like Star Wars and all that. But then when he was young, he realized horror was the route to go because you can make one for $20 and that can make your career. So he said he always wanted to do a blockbuster, but he sort of was like, it's easier to make horror films and I can keep making movies. So that's why he stuck with that. So as soon as they offered him the Godzilla vs. Kong, he's like, oh yeah, of course. Like I'm taking this. But just
absolutely.
Like the way he, like, there's this, you know what I like too is, all right, 2014 Godzilla. I'm off track, but whatever. Everyone's used to it who's listening. You know Norbert and Mark episodes. 2014 Godzilla, it's so dour, but the movie sold me because Godzilla's like old. Godzilla's tired. Yes. Godzilla doesn't want any of this anymore. Godzilla's like, yes, let me hang in my cave. Let me chill. Yeah. Leave me alone. These mutos get woken up. He's like, crap. So he just swims around. I got to go fight these idiots. And then eventually he defeats the mutos and he takes a nap. He just
I'm the alpha.
Yeah.
I'm the alpha again. Oh, whatever. Here we go. Another punk trying to be. Jesus, I'm going.
Exactly. Like, if there was a voice, like who would be the voice of this? Oh, it's too old for this. You know, just Brian Cox. Like, his voice is Brian Cox.
I was literally thinking that.
Yeah, it's
like,
just
back off.
He takes a nap. Godzilla takes a nap. In 2014, I was in the theater and I looked at Megan and I went, Godzilla's napping. I was like, this is amazing. Godzilla gets up from his nap, swims away. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Idiots wake up Ghidorah. I keep saying Ghidorah. I've been saying Ghidorah for years. Ghidorah. Wake the idiot up.
Yeah.
And Godzilla's like, ugh. So Godzilla goes and fights. They blow up his house with an atomic bomb while he's using radiation. He becomes the alpha. It's like, all right, cool. And then humans are again trying to make Mechagodzilla, and he's like, ugh. I gotta deal with this.
Here we go again.
So Godzilla's just on his mission, trudging around the world, and now Kong's involved. And he's like, why is this guy's trying to stop me? It's just, ugh. And I love Godzilla in these movies because he's just like, man, guys, just leave me alone.
Again.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm the alpha. Didn't we establish this before? And you give credit to the 2014 movie for, once again, for basically the fifth time rebooting the history of Godzilla. Because 54 Godzilla, he's a sea monster who's awakened by the nuking of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. 98, he's created by French nuclear testing, making the monitor lizards, I guess they were.
Oh, yeah,
really, I love the design for that one. But this one, it's not even that he's a sea monster. He just chills in the center of the earth, absorbing radiation and just heat from the center of the earth from what we now know is called the hollow earth. And he's dude, come on, man. And so they give you there's very little, they really did embrace the MCU style of universe building. There's little nuggets dropped if you watched all of these movies since 2014 that, these things are just older than man, and we grew up worshiping them. And then Kong and Godzilla, they do have a history of beef where they're basically fighting each other all the time to see, like, oh no, I'm the boss. And then basically Kong is only the boss of Skull. Like, I'm the boss at least of Skull Island, okay?
Yeah.
Like you win, bro. You win.
I get Brooklyn. You get the rest of New York.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Please, just leave me alone. You got the juice now, Godzilla. Stop beating the hell out of me, right? And you see in that fight that Godzilla and Kong have, especially when they get to just Hong Kong on acid. I love the design of the city.
Yeah, beautiful design.
During that fight where they're just fighting in Hong Kong on acid, Godzilla shoots Kong in the back. Laughs at him like, yeah, I got you that time. Grabs him by the arm, flings him into a building and dislocates Kong's shoulder. Okay? And Kong is like, wait a minute, here we go again. Like, how many times do you have to beat the hell out of me, bro? Because he's just backing up. And Godzilla's like, and I'm biting you.
Yeah, scratching at him.
Yeah. And then he just gets in his face, and Godzilla's like, say mate! Like Bloodsport, say mate! Set! And Kong's like, mate! And then he's like, oh. And Godzilla walks off because they have this mutual respect, and there's so much personality in each one of these fights. The fight on the aircraft carrier, Kong looks down and he sees the blue light, and it's not just because it's a weird blue light that he sees. He's like, oh shit, this Godzilla thing is again. Here we go again with this fire. Here we go. So all of the unspoken little pieces of personality that you get from them both, they have this mutual respect that they build up throughout this movie. The movie's not even 2 hours. And if you're paying attention, you see that they do have a mutual respect, and he doesn't kill Kong, because we've been through this before. Maybe not this particular Kong, because we learned from Skull Island that his family was murdered by these skull crawlers, which are badass creatures.
They're scary. That big one was scary, man.
Oh, sketch, bro. Sketch.
They're just meant for murder. They're not. Yeah. They're not cuddly at all.
Yeah. So if they're all Kong-sized and they just gang up on you, yeah, it's a wrap. As badass as King Kong is, he's just a giant monkey. He doesn't have any special powers beyond, I am the size of a building. And he's smart.
Yep.
And he knows how to use tools. And that axe was really cool. It's clearly made from It to the Godzilla.
I don't really care about the length of films. Like we talked about the Tomorrow Awards, 2.5 hours. I love that movie. I don't care. I'll watch it again. But when I learned that this movie was an hour and 53 minutes, I went, yes.
Sign me up.
Yes.
Sign me up.
I'm there. And you know what's nuts is this movie gets done exactly what it needs to get done. It's jam-packed with bonkers aspects, but essentially what this is, I mean, it's quite straightforward. We need Kong to fight Godzilla. And we need to enter Hollow Earth to maybe potentially battle Godzilla. But then there's a Mecha Godzilla, and there's a few twists and turns, but it's such simple plotting. I mean, you know what I love too is it's like, okay, we need to get Kong off this island because Godzilla's just going to find him anyway. We can't keep him contained. And okay, right. I'm going off on tangents, but I don't care. You know how much money it would cost to build that Monarch building? You know how much money it would cost to build a tunnel from Florida to Hong Kong? This movie is nuts. But the one strength I think it really has is I was watching Godzilla King of the Monsters. And I mean, this monster chaos, but the fights take place at dark, in the dusk, very, very, at night, very overcast, just very grimy, the Antarctica fight. There's not much, even Rodan is up in the clouds. It's just very dark. Yeah. This movie, it reminded me of why I loved watching Godzilla growing up, because it was a man in a suit battling another man in a suit, but in wide shots, where the two just ran at each other. In this one, Adam Wingard and just, essentially the entire crew, I mean, even the cinematographer who did a wonderful job, Ben Saracen, they know that people want to see wide shots of Kong and Godzilla. When Kong is on the aircraft carrier and slams down on it in the wide shot, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. When Kong punches Godzilla in the face in a wide shot, you see everything. Hard. They understand to put the camera back. This movie does a great job too of showing scale. The scale of the Earth, the boats, the fights, the scale of these monsters in this city. I don't care, man. It gives me goosebumps. I think it's just so insane and it's so well done. And I just think that this movie feels like it was just made by fans of the film.
Absolutely.
And they just, is it quite a simple story. There's more humor in this one too. If you think about Godzilla, then Godzilla, King of all monsters. King of all monsters.
Right. King of the monsters.
King of the monsters. They're quite dour. When in this one you have Skarsgård in sweaters being cheeky. You have you have Rebecca Hall. She's always great. I feel like whenever someone's on the screen with her, I'm like, you're not as good as Rebecca Hall. That's like my feeling. But you get like Millie Bobby Brown, Brian Tyree Henry. You get Ricky Baker himself on the screen, Julian Dennison. They're being cheeky. They're having fun. Even Isa Gonzalez is just going, yuck, ugh, like making faces. It does feel a little out of place, but this movie enjoys itself and it's fun. And it, Kong eating fish on the boat, smiling. Kong, yeah, right? Godzilla grunts, laughing.
The closed caption says grunts contentedly.
It's just, this movie knows it knows how to film a fight. It knows how to showcase scale, and I like the characters. And I think, Norbert, that this aircraft carrier fight might be my favorite action scene of the 2020 so far. Now, it's only 2022, but I watch a lot of movies, Norbert.
Yes, you do, brother.
This fight, the aircraft carrier fight, to me, makes logical sense.
Yep.
It makes Kong's on a boat on very large handcuffs. Godzilla comes.
Yep.
Godzilla's territory. Yep. We need to unhandcuff Kong. Okay, we unhandcuff Kong. But now Kong has to battle a swimming lizard that's 2 times his size. And
he drowns him effectively.
Yeah.
He effectively drowns him because Kong gets back on the surface and just vomits all the water in Lake Mead onto this aircraft carrier. He's like, okay, I'm done. Time to lay down.
And just Godzilla wipes out those boats, man.
Oh, man, listen, they establish animal behavior throughout all of these movies. Like, this is how an animal behaves. The biggest wants to be the alpha, check. The alpha wants to run his territory, check. Godzilla's territory is the ocean? No. Godzilla's territory is Earth, bro. So he's the alpha. And he will find you no matter where you are. They set this up in all the other movies, which is why when Maddie is telling Dad, listen, why is Godzilla suddenly going crazy? He's been so cool for like all this time. And he was established in the last movie as super animal guy. I know what animals do. Even though they're kind of unpredictable, I know what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
They had a full arc on it in the last movie, and he just dismisses her out of hand after she literally helped to save the planet. So then she just disappears.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even notice. He kind of checks his phone once, like, I wonder where she is. Anyway, I love that.
I don't know why Kyle Chandler showed up for this movie. Because you're right. It's like, hey, Norbert, Godzilla is attacking the same company's manufacturing plants.
Again and again.
Wait, so what's the pattern here? Well, he's attacked this secret laboratory, and this secret laboratory. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's cool.
Yeah. He didn't destroy New York this time. He didn't come up and just smash San Francisco. He's like, these specific places are pissing me off. I guess that means that Godzilla has gone crazy. What's that about? That's great. And that's why they just ignore him and go on the Scooby-Doo Detective Agency adventure with Brian and Henry Tyree and the other dude. Because they're just like, look, we're going to find out what's going on. We don't need this guy, man.
Oh, yeah.
We don't need this guy.
Like, the evidence is so there, but the adults are just like, I don't got time for this. I'm Kyle Chandler. I'm Haggard. I'm Haggard.
I need to hang out with Lance Reddick.
I do like the reunion. Lance Reddick had a bigger scene because he was on The Guest, and on the commentary they said that they had to cut it from the theatrical release. But Adam Wingard's like, if I ever have a role, I just try to bring in Lance because he makes everything better. And I'm like, that's the truth.
Period.
That should be on Lance Reddick's like IMDb. Put him in your movie or TV show. He'll make whatever role it is better. John Wick.
Right. All of his headshots have the caption, "I make things better," and he's just got his hand on his chin, looking at you.
Look at the John Wick movies.
Wingard.
That's a one note character, dude. And Lance Reddick in those movies is amazing.
Nails it.
Don't get me started on The Wire.
Wingard was just straight up like you and me. And like all Godzilla fans, he realized, look, 2014 Godzilla, we basically have 5 minutes of Godzilla in a 2-hour movie. King of the Monsters, we get way more monsters. They fixed that immediately. And then he just says, look, no Snyder cut for me. He's talking to Variety. No Snyder cut for me. This is it. A lot of the fans online were all asking me, is this going to be a 3-hour film? When it was announced It was a little under 2 hours, and they immediately thought, when is the director's cut coming out? He said, I like movies under 2 hours. Me and you, Hoffmeyer, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you do a movie over 2 hours, you better have a damn good reason for it to be that long. At the end of the day, if you're going to make this movie into 3 hours, you're not going to get an extra hour of monsters fighting. You're going to get an extra hour of people talking about monsters. And that is always the bane of Godzilla movies. When you watch the original runs of Godzilla movies, it's always, and what is Godzilla doing? Well, we are here in the command center looking at graphs of what Godzilla might do. Remember when Godzilla did this? Yes. Oh, I forgot Hiroshi at home. He just came home from school and he has to do his homework. Hiroshi, did you eat your noodles? And this just keeps, where's Godzilla? What the hell are you talking? Wingard was like, no. Wingard was like, no. Giant monkey punch dinosaur. Let's go. Let's get to it. Brilliant. Beautiful.
And like, you know, he said he wanted the movie to be vibrant, and he said that I knew that we were going to have fights in the daytime. He also said, I hate high overhead lighting. He's like, I hate bland middle of day lighting. So you'll notice that it's basically magic hour almost every time the sun's out. It's always just on the horizon, but it looks amazing.
They look wonderful.
It looks amazing.
They do.
Like
when they drop Godzilla into when they drop King Kong into the snowy place where they're going to go enter the Hollow Earth, the snow even looks great. Everything looks wonderful. It's bright and colorful. Yeah.
And I guess the director, Michael, the guy who did the first one, I have his name right here, Michael Dougherty. He did Trick or Treat. He got mad at he got mad at Wingard for going back to Antarctica, but Wingard was like, "Yo, if there's a secret entrance to Hollow Earth, it has to be in Antarctica. Like it can't just be sitting in Tampa. Like
no, somebody would have found it by now."
You know how much graffiti would be in that thing if it was in Tampa?
Poop on the walls.
How many strip clubs would be in there?
You know what I mean?
But yeah, it's I grew up around the area, y'all. It's gotten better. There's some really legit areas around there. I'm talking about like 90s, early 2000s Tampa that I used to go invade. But yeah, I love exactly what you just said there. He just wanted to make a 2-hour movie. Drop the talking, drop the command rooms, drop the let them fight. You know, just drop that. You know, and I think
let them fight.
People learn the wrong lesson from Jaws and Alien when they talk about showing monsters, because so I read the book about the making of Jaws, and I've watched every documentary you possibly could about Alien. In Jaws, dude, everyone knows this. The shark didn't work, so you can't have it on screen much. And that's why the character work is so great. In Alien, if you show that suit for more than 3 seconds,
it kind of looks goofy.
Audiences are laughing. So
gets a little goofy.
They had to be economical with what they had, because it didn't work or too much isn't scary anymore. Right. But other movies were like, oh yeah, cool, you just don't show your monster much, because like if you don't show your monster much, it's like Jaws. It's like, no, like you show your monsters. Quiet Place, show your monsters. Like get Piranha 3D, show your monsters. And this movie, audiences and critics love it. Dude, during the pandemic, this movie pulled in $470 million. And critics and audiences really like it, man. Like this movie has 76% tomato meter score, 6.3 IMDb, BS. But it's, I don't know, I think it stripped everything back. It had 3 standout fights. Mm-hmm. It tells a very straightforward story. It's propulsive.
It's pretty simple. Yeah.
Yeah. And
they need this to pick up that, to do this, to do that. It reminded me of Maniac Mansion when Maddie was trying to find Brian Henry Tyree's character, and does the guy who works at Monarch, does he buy a lot of bleach? Is he here? Well, you buy a lot of fish. I'll give you the info. Just like Maniac Mansion. Give the wax fruit and the fruit juice to the green tentacle. Then you can microwave the hamster. You turn on the radio, and then that happens. Okay, I get it. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous, but you get it, because go to point A, point B, pick up C, insert slot B into tab E. Let's go.
There's no side quest for them. They went to one place. They went there, and then they got into the greatest subway ever and shot to Hong Kong. 700
miles an hour on the last screenshot. The thing is just going at warp speed. They're just, okay, let's just hang out with these hibernating monsters in here.
And then they step into a fist fight of a Skullcrawler versus Mechagodzilla in like a fighting dome of death that just looks trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars. But you just have, but you know what I love too is, you know, the billionaire in this movie is Damian Bashir, who I absolutely love. I think he's great. Like I just, like he got Damian Bashir for this movie. He got Rebecca Hall, who I think is one of the pound for pound best actors on the planet. I watched a movie called Resurrection, and she won't, but I think she should get nominated for an Oscar for it. You get Skarsgård, who's solid. I mean, you just you bring in Ricky Baker, you bring in Eleven. I mean, just the entire cast is just so good. And even like Kaylee Hoddle, like she's the find of the movie. Just so good. And I love her look when she calls him a coward, but he's like, "You and I are both brave." And then she does that little smirk on her face,
She laughs every time.
It's so
He's
sly.
like coward. He's like, I don't know what that means. Skarsgård just goes. They humanize Kong so well. And I always was like, how did they not notice the girl doing sign language with the apartment-sized monkey on an island riddled with cameras? It completely shocked them that they were doing sign language. Like, you're literally monitoring Kong 24 hours a day. You're not good at your job, are you? You're not. How did you not see this?
This movie does not have time for that, Norbert.
None of it. And that's why I love it. That's why I love it. Because instead of sitting there, why didn't you do, why is there the sun in the center of the earth? Monkey, punch, dinosaur. Shut up.
Why are there trees?
Going there.
Yeah.
Monkey, punch, dinosaur? Okay. That's the answer. That's why. Let's go.
That's the world that has been created here, though. You have these civilizations of monsters. Godzilla has his crib in the bottom of the ocean. That that's the world. Someone complained during this movie about this movie where I shared my thoughts about it, and they're like, all that property damage was disgusting. And I'm thinking to myself, what movie were you watching? Like, this is Godzilla. Godzilla has always destroyed property. Like,
since 1954, bro. Like, not even.
Yeah, and I just remember going,
what were you expecting?
I even feel like Godzilla, when he goes to Florida, they're like 8 people were killed during the attack. And then they got it on an aircraft carrier. Yes, thousands of people died during those.
Yeah, a lot of people died, bro.
They show the aircraft carrier sinking, but I don't think this movie is destruction porn, like maybe a Man of Steel or Avengers Age of Ultron. Like, I don't think it's one of those types of movies. But when you have 2 colossal gods who are fighting, and Godzilla's fighting to just like, guys, I'm it on this planet, and you're messing with me, so I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna blow up this thing, I'm gonna leave you alone. Like, that's what. So I don't. That's
what he does.
I don't get the complaints about that, and it's
the difference being that the reason why so many people objected to it in Man of Steel is because we had been reading Superman comics since the 1930s, where he's trying to not kill people at all costs. And here he is just, I'm just going to pound this guy through a couple of buildings, and I'm going to level this building on top of him. Oh, people are in? Oh, really? People are in there? Well, my dad, Kevin Costner, said I have to do all that I have to do to protect my identity. And that's the most important thing, not me, because people could let you down, just like Kevin Costner let me down by like jumping into a tornado. That's the reason. That's why people were saying that. And the original King Kong versus Godzilla, they didn't really get to destroying too much either. That one came out in 1962, $432,000 budget, $8 million box office. And it was massively successful, just like this. People were like, I don't care. I want to see Monkey Punch Dinosaur. And at the end of the movie, they basically smashed this very, very nice Japanese building.
Yep.
And then King Kong knocks Godzilla into the ocean. And then King Kong comes up and is like, yay, I won. And then what happened to Godzilla? I don't know. Movie over. And everyone was like, yes, we want to see another one.
Give me more of that tree scene.
Yeah, exactly. So, building destruction happens, but it's not a big deal. Not such a big deal.
I mean,
it's more about Monkey Punch Dinosaur.
It's gods fighting.
Basically.
It's also fantasy. So it's got
it's completely absurd. It's completely absurd, One thing that I did like, Maya Simmons, that character, Maya Simmons, I think her real name is Isa Gonzalez.
Oh, Isa Gonzalez.
Thank you. Isa Gonzalez.
She's in Bloodshot.
She's great in everything.
Baby Driver.
She also got a lot of her stuff cut because Jessica Henwick got cut. I remember her from Iron Fist.
Yep.
She was cool. But her character as the daughter of Walter Simmons, the boss of the new Monarch type place. What's the name of the new place? The tech people who make this evil monster? I forget.
Jeez Louise, I didn't know that.
There are so many names. It all blows by. Like we said, it blows by fast. But her character pops up. That's usually a dude, you know. She comes up on the ship with Kong. Thank you. She comes up as the Apex daughter of the CEO. And that's usually a guy because she comes up with the text position, you know, whatever you guys have been driving, it's like a used Miata, you know, the price tag, you know, we got enough power to light up Vegas for a week with the heaves, you know, we're just so badass. That's usually a guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually a guy. And she nails it, man. She comes in there and just does it. And you wanted to see more of her, too.
Mm-hmm.
You get that they wanted to be economic with the time, but I wanted more Maya Simmons. I definitely wanted more Lance Reddick. You know, I definitely wanted more Serizawa's kid because we know that Serizawa is a stan of Godzilla. You know, let them fight. He wanted to touch Godzilla before he died in the last. We know that Serizawa was a Godzilla stan. These people are all stans of Godzilla. You know, Serizawa's kid. Why is he helping this evil corporation?
To kill monsters.
I wanted that.
Yeah.
I wanted more of that. And you could see that there was a little bit in him because he questions, you know, well, dude, are we sure that this is going to work? And get in the goddamn chair. all right. You know,
mm-hmm.
the Godzilla stan character type, archetype, Serizawa, the woman is in charge of Kong on the island. That type of character is always in the Godzilla movies as well. We have these people who revere the monsters and love them. And when you see Charlie Day in Pacific Rim, he's an homage to that type of dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh my God, yeah, this guy, and he's like a level 7. That's that type of archetype is always there. You know,
and you know, I don't want a longer cut of this, but you do notice that some characters don't get. You can tell that Maya Simmons' role was cut down majorly.
Seriously, yeah. Short shrift. Yeah.
And you feel it too. So sometimes you're kind of like, is this character even needed with the amount of little screen time that they've been given? But like, I don't know, for some reason this movie just feels strangely bulletproof to me because
it's ridiculous,
just,
man.
It's so
ridiculous.
Propulsive and it just delivers all the goods.
It keeps going. It keeps going, you know? It keeps going. And it gives so many little nods to old school Godzilla stuff, you know? Where you say the name of the character and then somebody fixes it. It's Robo Godzilla. No, Mecha Godzilla. Oh my God, is that Master Zero? Ghidorah. They've been doing stuff like that in Godzilla movies for 60 years. The heave, you know, is a shout out to the Garuda, which was made with the parts of Ghidorah in one of the earlier Ghidorah movies.
Oh.
The Super X3. You know, in Mechagodzilla 2 versus Godzilla in 1992, they reverse engineer Mecha King Ghidorah into Mechagodzilla and Garuda to fight Godzilla. Of course, things go horribly wrong. And then you have Destroyer in 95. Starts out like Alien with these monsters hunting people in a building. And then they go super high tech. And then they get this little spaceship that shoots freeze rays. Like, so the little spaceship thing is a thing that pops up a lot in Godzilla movies, like after 92.
Wow.
It's brilliant.
And you know what I like too is, you know, Godzilla 98, aside from the marketing, which I really admire, the movie puts you in New York City and it just sort of hides the monster. You don't really get too many glory shots of the monster and it makes it claustrophobic.
Yeah.
But this one, I think the sea battle fight, the Hong Kong fight, the Mechagodzilla fight, it does allow.
It's wide open.
Yeah, exactly. And I dig that. And, you know, I know this is completely different, but there were several moments in this movie where my jaw just dropped, like Hollow Earth, Kong smashing on the aircraft carrier. And then it kind of reminded me of Shin Godzilla a little bit because Shin Godzilla is bonkers. But watching that movie,
it really is.
I was going, what? Huh? What? And then all the scientists are trying to figure everything out. And I just had such a blast with it because it went what I feel is a different direction. I mean, it's still based highly in Godzilla lore, but I still love the evolution of the monster and kind of how they covered it and the science that they wanted to use. And then this one I think is really steeped in Godzilla and Kong lore, but it also has fun and it also really feels there's much less weight on it. And you know what's interesting too is Kong Skull Island I like. But there are moments in Kong Skull Island where I just want to vomit. Like that scene where Tom Hiddleston goes through the gas with a gas mask and slices the bird.
Oh, yeah, that was gross, bro.
But I was just thinking to myself, like, this has no point in this movie other than to look cool. Does that make like this is
no, you're right.
There's nothing here aside from looking cool. And that's why I like Godzilla vs Kong, is because, you know, the cinematographer, he really hates doing shots that are unnecessary. Like, he doesn't need a sweeping crane shot. The director Saracen didn't want any of that. And the one day he was sick is when they used a gigantic crane, which makes me happy. And then they sent pictures of the DP like, we're using a crane. But I think the shooting in this movie is very meat and potatoes, and it just focuses on the scope, and it focuses on capturing that awe, if that makes sense. Like,
you're right.
There's no super cool moments. Like, it's just capturing like that I think every shot that they thought about was just getting scale and making you feel wonder. When those flying birds come through and take out one of the heaves, and then Kong fights it, and then the thing wraps its wing around its face, choking him. I was like, this is amazing. This is its own movie.
It is.
And then he goes and he has a throne room, and Godzilla just blows it up. Like, it is, like, and you know what's easy too is, for Wingard, this could have felt like a fanfic movie, or this could have felt like a movie based around several shots, but it's still quite cohesive to me. I mean, the heaves have the power of Las Vegas. Oh, we'll use it to jumpstart Kong's heart.
They keep calling that back. That was great. Yeah.
And it just makes me happy. And it features so many actors I like too. Like you said, Eiza Gonzalez, Damian Bashir, Ricky Baker, like stacked cast. And it's just fun. And I keep saying that, man, but it's just for me, like, I have this circled right here, fun. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think. I really do, man. I wish I could have watched this movie in the theater, but it was 2021, man. Like, I think, Megan was pregnant. I just think we all like, I'm not risking that.
You had to be careful. You had to be careful.
But still, watching on that big TV, I didn't have high expectations, man, because I love Godzilla in 2014. I loved his Muto fights. And then Godzilla King of the Monsters was fine. It was just very grungy. And you had the whole Vera Farmiga subplot, and there was terrorists. Like, I'm a terrorist. I'm going to wake Ghidorah.
It was dark. Yeah. It was definitely dark. Yeah.
And then this happens, and it's over in an hour and 53 minutes, and it's cheeky, and it's fun, and it features excellent scale. It was such a blast for me, man. I can't think of the last time I've been so elated watching a movie than I was this. And yes, there's a hollow Earth. Yes, there's a battle axe that gets powered by atomic breath.
Remember, they had been fighting each other for millennia. So obviously Godzilla and Kong knows how this stuff works. Except he didn't. Because when Godzilla's charging up the axe, Godzilla's like, King Kong's like, does that? Really? But Godzilla was like, I know this. I've been here before. Dude. I'm the alpha. Remember? Me. Alpha me. This is how this works. Get him, bro. Yeah. All of it. All of it.
It just makes me so happy. And listen, like, there's a tunnel that goes from Pensacola to Hong Kong. And
really fast.
But this movie, this movie never takes itself too seriously, and it's always so propulsive that you can't be like, I hate that movie because there's a tunnel from Pensacola to Hong Kong. Like, yeah, there's also an immortal monster battling a god ape with a giant robot that probably uses. Mechagodzilla, Norbert.
Okay,
Mechagodzilla blows up the facility that makes it. But that thing needs oil to run. When it explodes, all the oil
energy
and juices come out of it, correct? So is it going to just eat a tanker for the oil? Like, how is it going to refuel?
So what happens is this creature has completely reverted to, once it gets injected with the energy from the Hollow Earth, the King Ghidorah personality takes over. And that's why it kills Serizawa's son. All right.
It's a jerk.
It's not thinking about how am I going to eat later. Maybe I should take a stop off at Arby's. It's just like crush, kill, destroy, stress, because that's what it's been. That's what it's been about. And the energy from the Hollow Earth, as they established in earlier exposition, it's just self-perpetuating. It's awesome. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. We'll never need any other energy source again, which is what makes Walter Simmons fund the expedition to go to the Hollow Earth. And so once it gets into Mechagodzilla, bang, I'm a psycho now. I'm myself, and this is happening. So he's not worried about food or anything like that, man. He's a monster. DJF, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a psycho monster, man.
The VFX sorry to interrupt. The VFX
No
artist called it a jerk. I guess that's what they called Mechagodzilla. Because Mechagodzilla comes out and immediately like steps on things it doesn't have to.
She's just listen. Mechagodzilla from the earlier series, Mechagodzilla is always faster and more powerful than Godzilla. That's all you need to establish in the overall canon as like an homage to the previous films. So when Mechagodzilla comes out, he's badass. He's got missiles, lasers, and shit. And he just knows how to use his tail. And his tail, it's also got a drill and a laser on it. Why not? Because they made him to replace Godzilla. Why did they want to replace Godzilla when Godzilla seems fine? I don't know. You know what I mean? But hey, whatever. How do we stop him? We try the password gambit, and the password where if I can just enter the password, everything will be fine. And I was like, they're not going to do that. And then it was great because the password gambit doesn't work. I'm not a hacker. I took an HTML course in summer camp. I was like,
in the 90s?
It was like, was that QWERTY with a keyboard? Yeah. I love that little bit, man. And this is it. You can't stop Mechagodzilla. The only thing that can stop Mechagodzilla is Godzilla. Mm-hmm. And in the other Mechagodzilla versus Godzilla movies, there's always a team up of some guy because he's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
He's too much. And so, yeah, he's definitely a jerk. And he's got to be taken care of.
And he gets ripped apart by an axe that's super powered by Godzilla's atomic breath.
The Sub-Zero fatality they used on him, man. He rips his spine out. That was incredible.
Oh, man. Dude, Godzilla laughing, Norbert.
Personality, bro.
Just an old grumper.
That's what was missing. Mm-hmm.
Wingard said if you watch the fights again, you'll notice that Godzilla's just playing with Kong. It does get serious a couple times, but that first fight, I think Godzilla's just sort of enjoying itself. And then during the Hong Kong fight, Godzilla's laughing and cheeking. And
Godzilla drowns King Kong, comes to the surface, sees an entire fleet of ships destroyed, bodies everywhere, debris and detritus. Debris. And he sees Kong just like, okay, I'm done. And then Godzilla's just like, and then leaves. Like, yeah, I'm the alpha. Did I mention I'm the alpha? Godzilla blows a hole to the center of the earth. It's like, come at me, bro. Come at me. He's looking down like, come at me, bro. It's the personality. They establish a personality between 2014, King of the Monsters, and it's fully realized in this one. Mm-hmm. If you watch these movies, you get to see that this is the personality of Godzilla that's been building. If you watch the original movies, like Norbert, who's a psycho, and has seen every Godzilla movie since 1954, even though he was born in 1978, you get a lot of little Easter eggs that make you feel good, Once again, that girl, Kaylee Huddle. Kaylee Huddle. When she's doing the Kong Whisper a bit, that helps to humanize Kong. Many years ago, there was a Mothra movie with the two girls, Masuraya, and they give them a nod in the 2014 movies where they have the twins. You mean your family has been part of Monarch since the beginning? That girl, she's like, yeah, basically, I'm the Mothra Whisperer. It's the same thing, And in the Mothra movies back in the day, those girls would give exposition. We think that Mothra is going to go have a sandwich at Denny's tomorrow. And if you are nice to Mothra, maybe he will bless you with a sandwich of your own. That's what this girl is doing in this with Kong. I'm sorry. This is what I geek on, Godzilla. I geek on it.
So we have Skype on right now and the video's on, and Norbert just went into full character. I just want everyone to know that when he did that. That's how committed he is to the podcast, and it made me so happy. I wish.
I love that.
And it's just, and also too, what Wingard said when they wrote the movie is, they didn't want Kong to have a love interest. You think about 76 Kong, you think about 2005 Kong, 1933 Kong, even to a certain extent Kong Island with Brie Larson. We don't want a love interest. So Rebecca Hall is not the love interest. He has more of a family in this one.
Yeah, that's his arc. He's looking for his family or a home.
Yeah, and I love it. That's his arc. Movie, listen, for a big summer blockbuster, for a big blockbuster in general, this movie makes some really neat decisions. And you know what, though? I said that it was a surprise that Adam Wingard directed this. But when you think about Your Next, that is a horror comedy, but it doesn't lean into the horror comedy like, say, a Tucker and Dale does. But it's still hilarious. But it's a bunch of. Have you seen your next?
I haven't yet.
Oh,
it's on my list.
Yeah, just I don't want to give anything away then. And then The Guest, which is one of my recent favorite movies, where I don't even want to get into it, but wonderful synth soundtrack, really excellent. There's also a sense of humor in that one as well. So I think he went into this one with a sense of humor as well. Like, let's just have fun with it. Let's be absurd. Like, he also understands the horror genre. He understood the thriller genre in The Guest, so he probably understands the monster genre. Like, let's come in, let's have a good time. Yeah, I mean, let's have an over-the-top villain like Damien Bashir. Let's not even explain why.
No.
Like, let's.
Why not?
And like
that's what and that's what a lot of animes do as well. Stuff just happens and you're just like, okay, at least it looks awesome because I don't know what the hell's going on. And you have these kind of characters who seem one note, but as the movie go on or the series goes on, you get fleshed out a bit. Yeah.
I know. I just was watching. You know what's interesting is I've really been embracing simple cinema lately, like Hell or High Water with Chris Pine and Ben Foster. That movie I think is about an hour and 45 minutes long, but it's so simple. They want to rob from banks, and then they give that money back to the banks to save the ranch that the kids don't even want. But
that's it.
It takes time for these small moments between Pine and Ben Foster that just look beautiful. And it's such simple storytelling that you can have character moments. So I think
and they're great actors,
right? Yeah, they're so good. They've been in 3 movies together. They're so good.
Yeah,
some of these movies, like Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Listen, there's some legit brawls, but it's so convoluted that there's not much character moment in it because it's just next, blah, 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 blah. This one takes the time to have Skarsgård hit a chicken owl monster in the face with a rock. It takes time to have Godzilla eat fish or chug from the brains of a dinosaur and have people want to puke because of it.
It was gross.
It has that early intro with Kong making a spear out of a tree. I just love that it has it just has a very simple story. And when you do that, you can have these cool character moments we've been talking about. And it just never, like, I think it always knew, I think he, like you said, he knew what the audiences wanted. Remember the first half of Godzilla 2014's Alan Taylor Johnson and Bryan Cranston? And
dude,
you're just,
I was so into Cranston, and then when they kill him, and then spoiler alert, they kill him, and then the movie rests on the shoulders of Aaron Taylor. No, man, no. That one, I loved that movie when it finally got going. Yeah, what you're saying is absolutely correct.
And it's just
when it finally got going.
But so that movie too, though, is very like it's an investigative journalist film. It's a get back home to my family film.
Right.
It's so many different movies packed into one, but it still finds time to make Godzilla likable with the nap. But I just think this movie, it's not worried about being cool. It's not worried about being dour. Like, it's just, we're going to have
it's not worried about making sense, you know? King Kong ends up in the center of the earth, which has weird gravity, and he realizes that he should jump because he sees a giant monkey hand made out of rock. Okay, cool, man. He's got an awesome floating scene, you know? There's weird things going on here. And this is how the Godzilla series started. 1954 Godzilla is a warning, is an allegory for the destruction of Japan by nuclear weapons. By 1956, you get Godzilla, King of the Monsters. By 1962, you get the first King Kong versus Godzilla. 64, you get Mothra versus Godzilla. And then Ghidorah has his own 3-headed monster movie. And then, in a completely batshit move, 1966, Frankenstein conquers the world. What? Like, they knew. Like, let's calm down, okay? Let's just enjoy ourselves at this point. You know what I mean?
Let's just
King Kong escapes, 1967. Let's enjoy ourselves. Yeah, let's enjoy ourselves.
Like, even, in the first King Kong, he's single leg wrestling. He's doing single leg takedowns on Tyrannosaurus Rexes.
Seriously, if you if you're looking for depth and whatnot, it's a plus here, but it's not necessary. Which is why this movie works so well, because we get all of the personality moments with the monsters, you know? Why has Godzilla suddenly gone batshit? Well, we know that he has to be the alpha. So it's got to be something with these very specific locations he's attacking. He's not flattening cities anymore. Okay, that's something that we got to look into. We've established all this animal behavior. You know what I mean? We know that Kong is a guy who likes to just chill and eat animal guts and wash. We learned that in Kong Skull Island. He likes to bathe. You know what I mean? He's not looking to fight unless he absolutely has to.
Have some calamari.
Yeah, I want. You know what? The octopus is gonna fight me. Not only am I gonna kill it, I'm gonna eat it, bro.
Practical.
It's gonna be good.
And it's so funny that you say that about Kyle Chandler. He's part of Monarch, which is like one of the biggest companies in the world.
Massive secret government organization.
But they can't take some drones and fly around these facilities after they've been destroyed to find out that there's some crazy stuff going on.
No, that would be too much, bro. I gotta hang out with Lance Reddick. He's barely in the movie. Gotta give him something to do. Gotta give him something to do.
Despite all the cutscenes, it still really works too. It
does.
But like you said, when Kong realizes how he can change the gravity from where he's at, jump, at least the movie gives you, at least it's like, hey, he sees a hand. He sees a Kong hand, and then he jumps. You're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, some trippy stuff.
So it's like, at least they realize how insane it is, but Kong gets the idea because he sees a Kong hand. He's like, oh, okay, I guess I should jump. So there's enough there, so you could just yada yada away. Why do they have a tunnel from Pensacola to Hong Kong? Yeah, well, why does Monarch have a plane in the second one that I can't even explain that plane.
It's just awesome.
Yeah.
The Monarch plane in King of the Monsters is basically a repurposed Cobra vehicle from the G.I. Joe cartoon series. Yeah. Because it just does a lot.
Yeah.
It does a lot, bro. And it's massive. And then they have the one that goes under the sea, because you have to collect the entire action figure set. Because that one is basically like a hotel underwater with nuclear missiles that they just happen to have lying around.
Hey, quick, get to the disco lounge.
Yeah, why not? Where is it that you guys keep your bulletproof vests? Next to the room with the coffee. And that's across the hall from the stationary zone. Okay. Pick me up a couple of binder clips on your way back. You know what I mean? It's just massive. They definitely do follow a couple of just, classic movie tropes. The two main characters have to fight each other until they realize that there is something more dangerous than them, and they have to eventually join up to combat it. That's classic Marvel team-up stuff right there, man. They made their little MCU. For what it's worth, they managed to pull off what the DC universe could not in way less movies.
Yeah.
Because you get the classic Marvel team-up, you got the personality, right? You got even the classic, after my shoulder's dislocated, I got to pop it back in.
Oh, what an amazing scene.
By slamming it against something. And that's so human, because we see the big action star that we're supposed to root for do that all the time, except now it's King Kong. And he just smashes it. Yeah, ready to go. I'm King Kong.
Uses a building to just...
Uses a building to... Did Rambo do that or what?
and to
classic stuff.
And also the fight scenes, Godzilla wins the first one, and the second one, Kong's more in his element because he can jump off buildings, and I kind of like too, the axe gets fueled up, it bonks Godzilla gets kind of knocked. Round 2 tentatively goes to Kong. So I like that they put each of them in their elements. Then you see Godzilla on his own getting his butt kicked. Kong jumps in. They two team up. And they both walk away great. Like both these monsters walk away excellently.
Godzilla walks away tired though. He's like.
Even Kong uses a building to just lay on. Remember, Kong's like, woo, wipes off his head and leans on it.
I've had it like this is too much. This is too much, bro. This is too much.
I'm telling you, man, this is such a beautiful moment. And I was thinking about it while I was working on this, and I kind of thought, like, what are my favorite action scenes of the 2020s? And I have a list that there's way too many, but I have about 30 movies here.
Yeah, of course you do, because you see like 7 movies a day. You animal.
So like the chases in Maverick, but I'm just gonna try and narrow it down to 5.
Okay.
And this is gonna be really hard, but I can do it. So I'm gonna say the boat fight in Kong vs. Godzilla, because it makes sense. It doesn't make sense why Godzilla's there, but it makes narrative sense about staying on the boats, fight, and the aircraft carrier. It makes sense. Mm-hmm. Then I'm gonna take the kitchen fight in Day Shift, because J.J. Perry, the guy, like one of the greatest action choreographers of all time, he worked on Bloodshot, by the way, and so did Daisy Gonzalez. I'm selling it for you, Norbert. You still don't watch it, but it's Scott Adkins spin kicking vampires while Jamie Foxx rips people up and Dave Franco runs around peeing himself. But just watching Scott Adkins spin kick people was enough for me. So I'll take those two. I'll take the bathroom fight between Nick Cage and Gus the Gorilla in Willy's Wonderland.
Okay.
Because it's Nick Cage fighting a demon animatronic puppet in a bathroom.
You had me at Nick Cage.
So I got those. But then but then there's the Prace, there's the Northman that attack. There's Infinite where Marky Mark uses a motorcycle to jump on a cargo plane to sword fight Ejiofor, which is pretty wonderful.
That sounds like a Mad Lib that you just made up. That's insane. What you just said there is completely insane.
Please watch Infinite, Norbert. Please.
Okay.
Just do it for me.
Okay.
Okay. Paper Tigers I love. Raging Fire. Last Duel has some good ones. I like the chase scene in the Batman. No Time to Die has some good ones. Carter by the director of Villainess has some great ones. Ambulance is an entire action film. The Princess.
Yes, that movie's insane. Ambulance is something that would have came out in the 80s. Oh. I feel like it was an 80s movie that just happened to be upgraded to 21st century quality. Dude, it's totally an 80s. It's insane. It's another one. It's like, why is this happening? I don't care.
Why are they doing a body horror movie in the middle of this? Why are they singing Sailing? It's beautiful.
It was insane. It was insane. Yeah, I love that movie.
Okay, so how many do I have? I have 3. I have
you listed a lot, bro.
I have Godzilla vs. Kong. I have Willy's Wonderland, and then I have Day Shift Fight. Oh, and then I'll take an RRR, the opening fight, where I forget his name, but he just destroys about 3,000 people, and it's absolutely wonderful. So I'm gonna take the Outpost.
3,000 people.
Now I love the Shang-Chi bus fight. I love the Nobody bus fight.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
I love when Chloe Grace Moritz beats up a goblin in Shadow in the Cloud. Let's see, Suicide Squad has the great rain fight.
Yes.
Tenet, I love Hunt. I really like that. The flower fight in Bloodshot, that's wonderful. But I guess.
So you say Bloodshot's a good movie?
No, but I love it. Trust me though, you watch it, and if you watch it earnestly and just enjoy it and get past the first 15 minutes and see what they're doing, you'll dig it. It's
Godzilla
fun.
mode, check.
It's like a $40 million budgeted superhero movie. It's not going to be Civil War. All right, so you know what? I'm going to say when Chris Pratt uses a snowmobile to hit the alien in the Tomorrow.
To hit the alien queen, so that was batshit. Yeah, it was.
All right, so that's it. Tomorrow War, RRR, Day Shift, Willy's Wonderland, and Godzilla vs. Kong.
Okay, I had a list of 11, but I will narrow them down.
I want to hear it. Let me hear it.
Okay, no particular order. Number 1, Tenet. Every single fight scene was just bonkers.
The kitchen fight. The cheese grater. The cheese grater. Yes.
When he spoiler alert, when he finds out he's fighting himself in the hallway and then they do it backwards. And I'm just tripping. I'm just like, wow. I think I'm going to have a seizure because this is insane. This is just of the 2020s. So from 2020 to 2022, I picked 11 movies. First one was Tenet. All the fight scenes. Number 2, Bad Boys for Life. Because just an insane final boss battle in the burning building. That was such a video game fight that was, man. And I happen to have a daughter because I'm not pulling out. I'm Mike Lowry. Of course I have a random daughter. I'm Mike Lowry.
What did they say about the witch? He's my responsibility. Yes, he is. He's your son.
He's your son. Yeah, duh. Hello, McFly. And then from out of left field, this movie that's called The Gentleman came out in 2020, where Matthew McConaughey is just an unexpectedly ultra-violent, successful cannabis dealer. And he's just putting people in the Hurt Locker. I don't know how else to say it.
Dude.
And it came out of nowhere. This movie came out of nowhere. It was like more violent version of Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels like that. And then just weird Jeremy Strong vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. If he went method on that. But
of course he did.
Man, that speech where he talks to Henry Golding about being a lion, McConaughey,
yes.
That didn't feel like a Tarantino speech, and the way he said it didn't feel Tarantino-y or Guy Ritchie. It felt
right.
I was worried for Henry Golding. And and also too, if I had a crew, man, I would hire Charlie Hunnam and his guys. If I was a crime lord, Charlie Hunnam might be one of the best second seconds in crime movie history. He's just crazy capable in that movie. I love it.
I feel like I've been watching things with Charlie Hunnam in it for 70 years, and this is the only thing I really like him in. Period. Full stop. Everything else, he's just generic white dude. This one, he had a vibe.
Yeah, he did,
He
right?
was a mood. Yeah. He was a mood. I was like, where has this Charlie Hunnam been in movies? because I haven't seen Sons of Anarchy. It's just too much.
No.
It's too. It was reaching.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe you. Pacific Rim, come on. Bro.
Nah.
We couldn't have gotten anybody else for Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Lost City of Z and Gentlemen are what I tell people to watch, because
yes,
you're
you've
right.
been mentioning that.
He has a whole vibe, man. And
He's a vibe.
if I had to hire a second, I'll just create. If he's like the perfect second in that movie.
Yeah.
He's running around like
in
tailored clothes and a submachine gun.
Just murdering people.
Oh,
he's just not a good human being. Number 4, the Tomorrow War, that oil rig battle.
Oh.
Because that was just like, it's the end of the world as we know it. That was like, okay, so it's over now. Like, we don't have to worry about going back to the future anymore because they're all dead now. Like, that's a wrap. That was unbelievably bleak, and it was well shot. And then we get a glimpse into the mind of how the alien queen. Oh, this one's a smart queen. She's actually actively stalking you, bro. She's not going around just killing. She's looking for you and her. That was great.
And
number
you said
5, nobody.
And Yvonne's death, dude. Yvonne's death.
That was sad.
She falls into a pit of flaming aliens.
Yeah, like, what's gonna kill her first? Let's put that on the DraftKings board. What's gonna kill her first? Jesus. Like, she was doomed.
Yeah.
And then the dad had to watch that and then just go back to the relative safety of the future and act like he didn't have just all the PTSD. All of it. That was great. The oil rig battle. That oil rig battle hits. And that's a big reason why I will not take negative comments about the Tomorrow War. That was great. Number 5, nobody. Christopher Lloyd just comes out with a shotgun. I wasn't expecting that. Were you expecting him to just blow that guy away? That particular scene, I was like, okay, I have to start paying attention to this thing because I kind of had it on in the background. And when he goes bonkers and just beats up everybody on the bus like an old Shang-Chi, it's like, okay, that's cool. But Christopher Lloyd pulling out the shotgun, I didn't see that coming. That was nuts.
That movie had me really worried because I was like, is this going to be Falling Down again? I don't want to watch Falling Down again. Like, this is 2021. I'm not watching this.
Nah.
And then they go where it goes. And
Falling Down definitely hits different these days. Because I don't know about you, but I used to love that movie as a kid when it was coming on TV all the time. But I watch Falling Down now and I'm like, is he the good guy? Should I be rooting for him? I don't know. Number 6. Black Widow, the aircraft carrier boss fight. Just that whole sequence. Breaks her nose, and then just Florence Pugh. She's amazing. I love that. I love that boss fight. Taskmaster. Number 7, just to continue to Marvel real quick. Statue of Liberty. I am Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm a Spider-Man fan. 3 Spider-Man fighting at the same time, injected into my veins. I don't care. I don't care who they were fighting. They could have been fighting the Sandman and the Lizard. They could have been fighting a 12-year-old boy trying to go home from school. I don't care. That was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Leave me alone, Spider-Man.
You just shut up, kid. And, it's like you were saying earlier, there's certain ways, like the Godzilla movies used to look real cheap, but at the same time, it was cool, and they were doing Godzilla stuff before the technology caught up to them. And that's why these Godzilla movies look so great now. Because the technology finally caught up to them. And it's the same thing with the Spider-Man movies, dude. The Spider-Man live action series, it just hurts your eyes. He's got this massive utility belt on his arm that's supposed to be a web shooter. And they're playing like jazzy porno music as he climbs up the side of a building with a clear wire attached to his back. Yeah. So No Way Home, Statue of Liberty fight. All day. Beautiful. Sorry. Number 8. Random movie. It's called Clean. Adrian Brody. He's a garbage man. He's a scuzzball. But he's really deadly. And he's a murderer. But for his child, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But he's a murderer. And then at the end of the movie, he's just got bars. He's just spitting his rap song over the closing credits. I was like, where did Brody get bars? Brody's got some bars.
I might do an episode with you, like Norbert's recommendations, and just have you write up 3 movies, because this sounds wonderful.
It's so, like, why, Brody? But and that's why I like Brody, because people say, oh, Predators was a bad movie. No, it wasn't. Brody was awesome in that, man. He came out of nowhere as just a badass. And so this is that guy after he came home from the Predator planet, but, like, things went wrong. So he had to go get a job as a garbage man in, like, Utica, New York, which sucks. So, number 9, Blood Red Sky.
Oh, Oh, yeah.
Vampire Snakes on a Plane, a.k.a. Flight of the Living Dead also. That movie's insane.
I love that movie. The flight attendant who goes bad, goes evil, and like just
Blood Red Sky, ladies and gentlemen. Do
watch
yourself a favor. It's just, I'm not even going to say anymore. It's just insane. Number 10, Prey. When the retro predator just murders the Frenchman.
Destroys him.
It's just with his little crappy shield too. He doesn't. The shield's crappy. He just stands there for a minute. Okay, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. Okay, I'm gonna rip your neck off. Amazing.
I can take some muskets. I'll be fine.
Yeah. And that's basically my list.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's my list.
Yeah, but there's been some good scenes through in the 2020s, but I don't think any of them top because it has a narrative. You like the kid.
Mm-hmm.
These, Godzilla. And you feel for Godzilla too. It's like, just let the dude go do his thing. Like, stop letting him. But then you like Kong because Kong's strapped in on the boat.
Yeah.
And it's I love it.
That scene. Look. There is to choose just one. Every single fight between the two is just, you have to stop what you're doing and pay attention because it is kinetic. This shit moves, and because everything is wide, you can see everything. This is not Michael Bay Transformers 1 where you're like, which robot are we watching?
Yeah.
I don't understand what's happening here.
Cut.
It's wide. Godzilla turns around. He's lit up by some red lighting with just characters on it. Kong is standing next to a neon blue Ferris wheel. It's so clear what's happening. Yeah, and the distinction of the fighting styles. Kong fights kind of like a wrestler, a brawler, but Godzilla is going to try to claw you and bite you and shoot you in the face. Whoever hates this movie, just go back to sleep. Just go back. Just wake up in 100 years, bro. You can't hate this movie.
Take a nap.
You're a bad person. You're a bad person.
I'm just so happy it did well at the box office during a really rough time. I mean, this movie made bank. This is one of the first movies back in the theaters, the big ones.
Right.
And Kong Godzilla King of Monsters didn't do too great.
King of Monsters, yeah.
The hype wasn't hot on this movie, but then people watched it and they went, "Whoa, this movie's good.
We should have seen this."
And then it keeps blowing up and making money, and now they're making another one. Wingard's back, Rebecca Hall's back, so it's good. Dan Stevens from The Guest is back. Like, there's a Wingard.
I'm glad there's no Millie Bobby Brown. I'm sorry. I'm going to be that guy. We don't need her.
No.
One of the things that always dragged down Godzilla movies in the past is always just the adorable child story.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, baby Godzilla's going to go to the store and buy some blunts. It's just, get out of here, Takashi. We don't want you. We want to see Godzilla. So yeah, good. I'm good. We don't need her doing exposition.
Yeah.
Thank you for these last two, though. She was good, but I'm good.
What's interesting? They have really no point in the movie, and they catch a subway from Hong Kong to Pensacola to Hong Kong, and then they just pour some scotch on a thing and kill the robot.
Kind of.
But I guess there's still some good energy to the three of them.
Don't get me wrong. I thought they were fine in this movie, but I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like her character, there's no more that we need from her character.
Mm-mm.
Like, I'm good, And past Godzilla reviews, whenever people hated on Godzilla movies, it was always because too much human, too many people, with just enough human drama to anchor the sweeping spectacle of giant monsters smashing everything in sight. Gareth Edwards' Godzilla satisfyingly restores the franchise to fire-breathing glory. Always that little dig. That was from Rotten Tomatoes, Godzilla 98. There are far too many characters, and they're all bungling, This guy named Mike Massey from Gone with the Twins. Godzilla 2000. After the humans blathering about studying him or killing him, or why does he keep saving us after we created him, but now he's trying. The hate is always on the human characters. And that's why, again, we give the shout out to Wingard. Like, you know what? You're right. Less people. 38 minutes they cut from this movie, according to GoGP. 38 minutes.
Wow. I mean, that's
could have
expensive.
had a 2-hour 20 movie.
Nah.
Yeah.
You don't need it. I mean, and also, if you think about this movie's so scaled back with characters. You have Skarsgård, Millie Bobby Brown, Rebecca Hall, but you have two separate storylines, essentially. You have the kids, and you have the adults, I guess. And it's just so, I don't know, I love it. And it's just so simple, keeps moving forward. I'm going to say it again. It's propulsive. And also I just covered Collateral on the podcast. And that's
Classic.
another movie that I love because it's 5 stops. Well, 6 stops, but I'm in your cab. We're going to go to 5 places. And then you can build the character moments off of that. You can have the scenes in the jazz club because of that, because you're just going to 5 places. And this feels like we got to go take Kong to Antarctica. Kong goes in Hidden Earth. So then we can get up to Godzilla to fight him. Boom. Bing, bang, boom, to get the power. And then Godzilla blows a hole. I think.
Oh, come at me, bro! I just blew a hole in the earth. Come at me, bro! I'm sorry.
By that point in the movie, I just went, I love you. I think I just said I love you to the screen. But no, I'm so glad you suggested this, man. And what are we doing next? What do you think?
Well, dude, whatever we do next has to resolve the following question: tap or no tap? Which water do you get down with? Tap or no tap?
That made me think about Dr. Strangelove. No tap. The fluoride in the water.
They've been putting fluoride in the water since 1962. The United States Public Health Service recommended that public water supplies contain fluoride to prevent tooth decay, but it is regulated. Okay, so it's not that much. It's not that much, bro. Drink the fluoride. Get those pearly whites perky.
Clean with bleach.
That's it. Just wash yourself in bleach all day.
Remember in Doctor Strangelove, Norbert, when he's like, our essences are being stolen by the thing, and then he orders, Jack the Ripper orders the nuclear war because our essence.
Of course.
Oh, I love that movie. There's no fighting in the war room. All right. Well, what do you want to promote, Norbert, before we get out of here?
My name's Norbert Morvan. You can find me on SoundCloud at Norbert Morvan. You can find me on Twitter at Eddie Kane, EDDIECAINE. I love you all.
All right. Well, I love you too, Norbert.
Yeah, you're a champ.
Wait, I just my blank. All right. Well, thank you for joining me, man. This was great.
Thank you.
All right. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for Norbert Morvan, this is Movie Films and Flicks. We'll see you next week.